Jambo Jambo, welcome back to our second episode of depression. We are going to talk about the factors that leads to depression, and we are still having our wonderful and great lady. She's going to take us through the factors that leads to depression. Kezia, are you ready?
Yes, I am.
Karibu sana.
Thank you.
Let us address our viewers about the factors that leads to depression, and I hope they are going to enjoy.
Sure. Welcome back to our series 2 of depression. I'm glad to be here once again. It's always an honor and a privilege to share the knowledge, the little knowledge that we have with all of us. Welcome again. We're going to talk about the factors that lead to depression. We talked about what depression is in the first episode, and we taught and we learned about how depression progresses, and we saw a few takeovers of how it progresses. Now today we are going to talk about the factors that lead to depression. For us to understand, when we say someone has depression, what could have led to that depression? What could have contributed to this person to get into this depression? And remember, we said depression is a process. It doesn't happen overnight. It is something that takes time. It is something that takes a lot of time actually for someone to be into depression. We say someone sleeps into depression, and as we say, you sleeping into depression, it's something you're getting into slowly by slowly, and it's always triggered by something. It does just not happen. It is triggered by something. So we are going to talk about a few factors that trigger or that bring into depression. And for a start, we're going to talk about childhood trauma as the first factor that leads to depression.
I think that is going to be interesting.
I hope it will be. Sure. Now, these are experiences such as growing up as an orphan, making you feel alone. There are children who are not privileged to grow with their parents. They are left at a very young age by their parents. They die, they leave this child young. Look at a child whose mother died on the delivery bed, and she was left alone. And maybe the father to this child was not even there. She had been born out of wedlock. And now this baby is left in the hands of caregivers. Sometimes caregivers can be very harsh. Sorry about that. Sometimes it lacks someone who will understand this child. So as this child is growing as an orphan, she's in a world where she doesn't understand why is it that other children are having parents and my own case is different. And before they grow up to understand that their mother or their father died when they were young, as they try to deal with that information, as they try to process this as a young child, it can affect them. They can get stressed, having questions within themselves that no one is answering. Because in most cases you find people say, huyu mtoto ni mdogo sana, hafai kujua. And then she has maybe been taken by the grandmother, who may even be very old in the village. This mama can't do anything for herself. And in most cases, this child is left to suffer. Others are taken to orphanages. Orphanages where this child is harassed by others. Orphanages whereby this person has so much burden on their shoulders that they can't be able to deal with the issues of this child every now and then.
And they can't be able to father or mother them.
Yes, because remember they have been left as very young children as they are trying to process this. Maybe they have even got to an age where they have gone to school. And as they are talking with other children, they are saying, my mommy said, my daddy said. And then she's like, where is my mom? Where is my dad? And others, they are brought up by caregivers, maybe the sisters to the mother, or the relatives to this parent who is deceased. They have their own children, and they are not able to integrate this child to be a part of their family. This child is secluded. This child is not given the favors other children are given. There are even worse relatives who can even turn this child into the shabba boy of that home, or to the house girl of that home, or to the maid of that home. So as this child is growing up, They're having so many questions within themselves. Why me? Why did God have to take my parent? When they realize that they were left as orphans. But before they get this answer, when they are growing up, they feel alone. They feel lonely. And as they are dealing with this, slowly they can slip into depression. Others, they feel abandoned by their parents. Their parents who are so busy at their work that they don't have time for their children. Children are left at the mercy of the caregivers. Or they are those parents we call passive. They can see you in the home, but you don't listen to these children. There are other parents who are absent. They have just left you to maybe to your grandmother. They have left you with your grandmother, with your uncle, but they are alive. So as this child is growing, they have this trauma of like, why is it that my mother doesn't want to stay with me? She's leaving me with my grandmother. And I can see other children are living with their parents. Why is my own case different? As they digest this information, as they process this information, that trauma of lacking answers, that trauma of feeling abandoned can make this child slip slowly into depression. Others have grown in homes that are very toxic, where they have never been affirmed. The toxicity in that home leaves this child with no affirmation at all. Everything that happens ni coffee, kuchapwa tu. I hope you can relate. There are homes that are very, very toxic. This child who grows up in this home may end up slipping slowly into depression because they don't know. Why is it that everything I do is never appreciated? Why is it that I'm never encouraged? Why is it that even if I get bad grades at school, my mother or my father doesn't care why I got bad grades? They just come and tell me you're useless, you're good for nothing. And as they process this information of not being affirmed, of them being termed as a failure, they can slip slowly into depression. A home where a child grows up, the mother and father are always fighting. Small issues, they are always fighting. And now this child trying to understand, why is it that our home is different? I don't see other parents fighting. Why is it that in our home it's different? This child grows up with these questions because no one is going to give them answers. They'll try to understand, but they can't understand. It becomes so traumatic for them. Look at a young baby who is seeing the father battering the mother. What happens in that small mind, that small baby's mind or that child's mind? Because they can't process the whole of this thing, slowly they slip into depression. Others grow up seeing the bitterness in their parents because they are children who can be brought up by very bitter parents. They transfer that bitterness to this child.
They breed on their children.
They breed on their children. As this child is trying to understand this, it becomes traumatic for them. Imagine being harassed at a very small age of maybe 3 years. A small mistake that you do, you remind your mother of the pains she went through. And as she's transferring that pain to you, it becomes traumatic over the years. Because you expect, my mother should love me, my parents should be there for me. But now, all their bitterness, all their frustrations are left on this child. And as they try to process this and as they try to deal with this, it can become traumatic for them. Slowly they get into depression. There are others, when they are born, their parents have so little to provide for the family. They have so little earnings. And now, these children are forced to mature too fast. They are given adult responsibilities too fast when they are still very young. Look at a girl who is 5 years and behind her are like another 4 siblings. And the mother is going to work. She can't afford to pay for a caregiver. So this girl, who is the firstborn, is left to deal with these other 4 children. This girl or this boy is forced to mature too fast because he's told, make sure your sisters eat, make sure you've washed the house, make sure they have slept, make sure you've washed them. And this is a very young girl.
That's true.
A very young boy. As she's trying to deal with all this, Imagine the cries of these young children on another young girl as they are dealing with this, being forced to mature too fast. She's seeing other children of her age praying outside, but yeye hachezi because ameambiwa osha vyombo, risha watoto, fanya hii. And as she's going to deal with all these things, slowly kanaingia into depression, pole pole tu, she slips into depression. And it's so unfortunate, you find so many people right now, as they have grown up, they have carried those pains from their childhood into their young lives, into their adult lives, not knowing that it's affecting them, not knowing it used to affect them as they were growing up. They thought this is the new normal of their home. They thought this is how life is supposed to be. A child who has grown with all this trauma, slowly they can slip into depression, and it can affect them into their adult life.
Okay.
Yeah. Now I want us to talk about another factor, if you are around me.
Yes.
A very major one that I termed as romantic heartbreaks.
Wow, hata tungeanza na hiyo.
Romantic heartbreaks.
Okay.
Yeah. These are issues like you're in a relationship, someone you love, someone you trust, and they cheat on you. How would you feel?
Character development.
Now, so many people have been heartbroken by people they love. And worse still, they are never remorseful. There's somebody who just come and tell you, mimi nilienda na huyo day sababu niliona kompoa kuliko wewe. They are not even apologetic.
Yani anakuambia ufeel
venye utafeel, he doesn't care. So it can cause people to feel that pain, that stress, as they try to ask themselves, what is it that was in that girl I didn't have? What is it that I was not giving to my partner for him to go and cheat on me? Was it that he couldn't have been patient with me? Was it because that he couldn't have talked to me that he decided to go and cheat? As they try to process that pain, as they try to process that betrayal, it can make them slip slowly into depression. Another major one, a girl being dumped. And not only a girl, even big people can be dumped. Even a boy can be dumped as they are courting. You thought you were in a relationship, you thought you were very happy, but akapata mtu mwingine mpoa kuliko. Now he did just, he's not now cheating on you, he just leaves you completely. And he goes to the other person. Anakuacha tu peke yako. Na maybe they even people nowadays are so heartless. They even dump you over an SMS. Wanakuandikia tu SMS, wanakuambia
it's over.
It's over. Hata ile courtesy like calling you to discuss about it, telling you what has happened for them to dump you, wanakutext tu. Others even block you without communication.
Oh my God.
As people are dealing with this, because now you can't process exactly what did I do?
Am I not good
enough? I not good enough? Don't I deserve to be loved? As they are trying to process that, the stress becomes too much for them because they are not having answers. They didn't have closure. So as they process that, they can slowly slip into depression. Another major thing that is happening nowadays, something we are calling divorce. Divorce is happening everywhere, left, right, and center. You are happily married, something happened, and your partner feels, I'm no longer interested in this marriage, and you really love this person. You've invested so much of your time. You've invested so much of your money. You even built together. You have children together, and then something just crops up, and it's now they say, it's no longer doable. It's no longer workable, and they divorce you. As you deal with this divorce, as you deal with this thing, so many people are getting into depression. Others even killing each other. Others even committing suicide. Because when they got into this marriage, they were not getting into this marriage to be divorced. They were not getting into this marriage as a trial and error. You love this person.
Or to be killed.
Or to be killed. So when they feel or when they hear this thing called divorce, it affects them so much. And slowly they become a shadow of themselves. Slowly they get depressed. So divorce is another major cause of heartbreak. Another one that is happening again so much nowadays. Women being impregnated by men and wanaachwa kwa mataa. Unapata, you went for one night stand. You just wanted to be happy. and then umeshtukia
You're pregnant.
you're pregnant. You tell this jama, I'm pregnant, and he tells you, were you not mature enough? How can you be pregnant? And they take off.
It is not mine.
Alafu anakuambia hata si yake.
Hivyo ndivyo wanasema.
And
It
then
is not mine.
he takes off. You're left here with the pains of you love this person, a pregnancy to carry. How do you process this? You are not ready for a child. You wanted to just go and be happy, and then umejipata uko na mimba. As you process this, many women are dealing with this. They have been broken because of this. Getting into the relationship because of maybe you wanted a favor. Uko job, unataka promotion. Ama umeenda kufanya interview press, and then you told you will meet somewhere for me to give you an appointment letter. And the place where you're meeting is in a hotel room. And he tells you have to do ABCD. You have to sleep with me for me to give you this job. Desperate times calls for desperate measures. And especially if you don't have good morals. Many are falling into these traps. One night stand, unatoka hapo na mimba. As they
Or
deal
even
with this,
HIV. Or
yes,
other diseases.
as you deal with this pain, how do I go about it? What will I do? Stress ndio hiyo, kidogo kidogo, depression. And remember, wewe ulikuwa umeingia pale ukitaka job, ama ulikuwa umeingia pale just to have pressure, and then you get yourself umeachwa na mimba. Now, being stabbed by someone you love. Not starved, stabbed in the back.
Okay.
Or let me say, being betrayed.
Or being gaslighted.
Yes.
Is it a better word?
Yeah, for me, I would use betrayal.
Okay.
You loved someone, you shared so much. Look at this couple wenye mumetembea safari mrefu pamoja. And then all of a sudden, amekuacha. Anaenda akiambia marafiki zake, hata ukiona huyo mtu, wachana na yeye. Hafai, hatoshi. They share so much of your secrets. They share so much of the things you used to share together.
Okay.
They expose you to other people. As you deal with this betrayal, as you deal with this, it's like he has taken a knife and stabbed you in the back. That pain, as you're dealing with that betrayal, it makes you stressed, and slowly you find yourself getting into depression. Another major one that is happening.
Okay.
People nowadays are dating people who are married without their knowledge, or even with their knowledge, but worse, without their knowledge. You find someone, you're looking for acceptance, you're looking for someone to love you, and you found this guy or this woman. They are there for you. They care for you. You get even to an extent of sleeping together. You get to an extent of getting intimate. And then one day, the bombshell lands on you. This Jama is married. And you didn't know, or he didn't tell you. How do you deal with that pain? How do you deal with those news? Because you knew, this is my person. This is the person that I love. And then you had plans of getting married to this person in the future. And all of a sudden, you realize, and worse still, you're not running from them. You're running from someone else. That this person you've been dating is married. This person you've been dating has a family. And your intention was not to destroy another family. Your intention was to get someone to love you. Your intention was to get someone to be there for you. But now you realize he has been cheating on you. He's married. How do you process that? How do you deal with this? As you're dealing with it, slowly you find yourself slipping into depression. I would want you to get there, and when we get time, we'll deal with some more factors.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Wow, that was very interesting, and I want us to think about that topic. And if you have any question, please go to our comment section and comment there. We will reach to you, or you can even inbox our life coach here, Kezia. And until next time, for now, bye bye.
Thank you so much.